First contact. The night sky above the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico blazed with countless stars, a view Dr. Elena Martinez never tired of seeing. She sat at her workstation, sifting through the endless stream of data from the massive radio telescope, searching for that elusive signal that would change everything. After 15 years of dedication to the SETI program, Elena refused to give up hope. A sharp beat from her computer jolted her from her thoughts. Elena's eyes widened as she saw the unmistakable pattern emerge on her screen, a clear, repetitive signal unlike anything natural in the cosmos. Her heart raced as she double-checked the readings, hardly daring to believe what she was seeing. "This is it," she whispered, her hands shaking as she reached for her phone. "We're not alone." Within hours, observatories around the world confirmed Elena's discovery. The signal originated from a star system just 40 light-years away, far closer than anyone had expected first contact to occur. As news of the discovery spread, humanity was gripped by a mixture of excitement and fear. World leaders convened an emergency meeting at the United Nations to discuss how to respond. After heated debates, they agreed to transmit a carefully crafted message of peace and friendship back to the source of the alien signal. Months passed as Earth anxiously awaited a reply. Elena barely slept, spending every waking moment at the observatory. Her dedication paid off when, exactly 1 year after the initial contact, a new signal arrived. This time, it wasn't just simple pulses. The aliens had sent detailed information about their civilization and technology, along with an invitation for humanity to join a galactic community of advanced species. They called themselves the Zarkan, and they promised to share their knowledge with Earth if we welcome them as friends and allies. Governments and scientific institutions around the world scrambled to analyze the wealth of information the Zarkan had shared. Their technology seemed centuries beyond humanity's wildest dreams: clean energy, faster-than-light travel, and cures for countless diseases were just the beginning. Elena found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity as Earth prepared for the Zarkan's arrival. She was appointed to lead the team that would make first face-to-face contact with the aliens when their ship entered Earth orbit. As the day of arrival approached, a sense of unease gnawed at Elena. Something about the Zarkan's eagerness to share their advanced technology didn't sit right with her. Why would such an advanced species be so interested in humanity? What did they stand to gain? She voiced her concerns to her colleague and friend, Dr. James Chen, as they prepared for the historic meeting. "I can't shake this feeling that we're missing something, James," Elena said, pacing nervously in her office. "It all seems too good to be true." James placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "I understand your caution, Elena, but think of the opportunities this presents for humanity. We're on the brink of a new golden age. Try to enjoy the moment." Elena nodded, forcing a smile. She knew James was right, but the nagging doubt remained. The day of first contact arrived with all the pomp and ceremony befitting such a momentous occasion. World leaders gathered at a specially constructed landing site outside New York City, flanked by an honor guard from every nation on Earth. Elena stood at the forefront, her heart pounding as the sleek, silver ship of the Zarkan descended from the clouds. A hush fell over the crowd as the ship touched down, its surface shimmering like liquid metal. A hatch opened, and 3 tall, slender figures emerged. The Zarkan were humanoid, with elongated limbs and large, almond-shaped eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light. Their skin was a pale blue, covered in intricate patterns that shifted and changed as they moved. The lead alien stepped forward, raising a hand in greeting. "People of Earth," it said, its voice resonating in Elena's mind rather than her ears, "we are honored to meet you at last. I am Zarlak, emissary of the Zarkan Collective. We come in peace and friendship, eager to welcome you into the galactic community." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth. We are grateful for your generosity and look forward to learning from you." As Elena shook hands with Zarlak, a jolt of energy passed between them. For a brief moment, she caught a glimpse of something in the alien's eyes, a hunger, a calculation that sent a chill down her spine. But as quickly as it appeared, it was gone, replaced by a benevolent smile. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, scientific exchanges, and public appearances. The Zarkhan shared glimpses of their advanced technology, curing diseases and solving energy crises with casual ease. Humanity celebrated its newfound allies, but Elena couldn't shake her growing sense of unease. Late one night, as Elena pored over the latest data from the Zarkhan, she noticed something odd. Hidden within the complex formulas and schematics was a pattern, a familiar one. With growing horror, she realized it was the same pattern she had first detected in the Zarkhan's original signal. Her hands flew over the keyboard as she applied the decryption algorithms she had developed. Slowly, a hidden message emerged. Phase 1 complete. Humanity unsuspecting. Proceed with terraforming. Elena's blood ran cold as the truth dawned on her. The Zarkhan weren't allies. They were invaders, and humanity had welcomed them with open arms. As she reached for her phone to sound the alarm, the lights in her lab flickered and died. In the darkness, she heard the soft hiss of a door opening behind her. "I'm afraid we can't let you share that information, Dr. Martinez." Zarlak's voice echoed in her mind. "Your part in this story is over." Elena turned to face the alien, her mind racing for a way out. As Zarlak advanced, she knew that the real battle for Earth's survival was about to begin, and humanity was woefully unprepared. The invasion begins. The world awoke to chaos. In every major city across the globe, massive crystalline structures had erupted from the ground overnight, towering over skyscrapers and pulsing with an eerie blue light. The Zarkhan ships, once welcomed as bearers of peace and progress, now swarmed the skies, raining destruction upon military installations and communication centers. Captain Sarah Chen of the United States Air Force found herself thrust into the heart of the conflict. As one of the few pilots trained to operate the experimental aircraft reverse-engineered from Zarkhan technology, she was humanity's best hope for mounting an effective resistance. Sarah strapped herself into the cockpit of her sleek, black jet, its contours barely visible against the pre-dawn sky. "This is Phantom 1, ready for takeoff," she radioed to the underground command center. "Godspeed, Phantom 1, came the terse reply. "Give 'em hell." The jet shot into the air, its advanced propulsion system allowing it to accelerate to supersonic speeds in seconds. Sarah gritted her teeth as she approached the alien fleet besieging Washington, D.C. "Let's see how you like a taste of your own medicine," she muttered, engaging the weapons systems. Energy pulses lanced out from her craft, tearing through the shields of the nearest Zarkhan ship. The alien vessel shuddered and exploded in a brilliant flash of light. For a moment, Sarah allowed herself a glimmer of hope. Maybe they had a chance after all. That hope was short-lived. The remaining Zarkhan ships turned their attention to her, unleashing a barrage of weapons fire that her jet's shields could barely withstand. Sarah's cockpit filled with warning alarms as she executed a series of impossible maneuvers, trying to shake her pursuers. "Phantom 1 to base," she called out, her voice strained. "Their defenses are adapting. We need a new strategy." Static was her only reply. The Zarkhan had taken out the command center. On the ground, the situation was equally dire. Dr. James Chen, Elena's colleague, led a group of survivors through the ruins of New York City. The once bustling metropolis had been transformed into an alien landscape, with strange vegetation rapidly overtaking the streets and buildings. "Keep moving," James urged the group, his eyes constantly scanning for threats. "We need to reach the safe zone before nightfall." A young woman named Maya stumbled, her face pale with exhaustion. "What's the point?" she asked, her voice cracking. "They've won. It's over." James knelt beside her, his expression fierce. "It's not over until we say it's over. Humanity has faced extinction before, and we've always found a way to survive. We'll do it again." As if in response to his words, a deafening roar filled the air. The group looked up to see Sarah's jet streaking overhead, pursued by a swarm of Zarkan fighters. The human craft weaved and dodged, somehow staying ahead of its attackers. "See that?" James said, helping Maya to her feet. "Was still fighting. Now come on, we need to find a way to help." Across the ocean, in the war-torn streets of London, a different kind of resistance was taking shape. Professor Akira Tanaka, a brilliant xenobiologist, worked feverishly in a makeshift laboratory hidden in the London underground. "The key is in their biology," Akira muttered, peering into a microscope at a sample of Zarkan tissue. "Every species has a weakness. We just need to find theirs." His concentration was broken by the sound of heavy footsteps approaching. Akira looked up to see Colonel Emma Blackwood, her uniform torn and dirty, leading a group of soldiers into the lab. "Please tell me you have good news, Professor," Emma said, her voice wary but determined. Akira shook his head. "Not yet, but I'm close. The Zarkan physiology is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if they're not entirely biological. There's a technological component to their cellular structure that I can't quite understand." Emma's radio crackled to life. "Colonel, we've got incoming. Multiple boaties headed for the surface entrance." "Damn it," Emma cursed. She turned to Akira. "Pack up what you need, Professor. We're moving out." As they rushed to evacuate the lab, Akira's eyes widened in sudden realization. "Wait, the plants. The alien vegetation they're using to terraform the planet. It's connected to them somehow. If we can disrupt that connection..." An explosion rocked the tunnel before he could finish. Zarkan soldiers, their bodies glowing with the same eerie blue light as their ships, poured into the lab. "Run," Emma shouted, raising her weapon and opening fire. The bullets seemed to have little effect on the alien soldiers, who advanced relentlessly. Akira grabbed his research materials and fled deeper into the tunnels with the remaining survivors. As they ran, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was on the verge of a breakthrough, one that could turn the tide of the war. Back in the skies over Washington, Sarah's luck had finally run out. A direct hit from a Zarkan energy weapon sent her jet into a tailspin. Warning lights flashed across her console as the ground rushed up to meet her. "This is Phantom 1, she radioed, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. "I'm going down. To anyone who can hear this, don't give up. Keep fighting. We can win this." With the last of her control, Sarah aimed her failing craft at the largest Zarkan ship she could see. If she was going down, she'd take as many of them with her as she could. The resulting explosion lit up the sky, temporarily blinding the Zarkan sensors and creating a momentary lull in their attack. In that brief window, scattered human resistance groups launched coordinated strikes against the alien forces, proving that humanity wasn't beaten yet. As the battle raged on multiple fronts, a solitary figure emerged from the shadows of the devastated Arecibo Observatory. Dr. Elena Martinez, presumed dead after her encounter with Zarlak, had survived and gone into hiding. Now, armed with knowledge of the Zarkan's true intentions and a desperate plan, she set out to turn the tables on the invaders. "You picked the wrong species to mess with," Elena muttered, her eyes blazing with determination as she surveyed the alien-transformed landscape. "It's time to show you what humanity is really capable of." As night fell on the first day of the invasion, the fate of Earth hung in the balance. The Zarkan's victory seemed all but assured, yet pockets of resistance continued to fight back with everything they had. Unknown to both sides, the actions of a few key individuals in the coming days would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of the entire galaxy. The stage was set for a conflict that would push human ingenuity, courage, and determination to their absolute limits. The real war for Earth's survival was about to begin. Human resistance. The weeks following the initial Zarkan attack were a blur of chaos and desperation. As alien terraforming accelerated, Earth's atmosphere began to change, making it increasingly difficult for humans to breathe outdoors without specialized equipment. Pockets of resistance formed in underground bunkers, abandoned mines, and hastily constructed shelters around the world. In the depths of an old Cold War bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, an unlikely group of survivors had formed the nucleus of humanity's fight back. Dr. Elena Martinez, having made her way across the devastated American landscape, now stood before a room full of military personnel, scientists, and civilian volunteers. "We've been reactive for too long," Elena said, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. "It's time we took the fight to them." Colonel John Hawkins, a grizzled veteran who had seen more than his share of combat, stepped forward. "With all due respect, Doctor, how do you propose we do that? Their technology is light years beyond ours." Elena's eyes gleamed with determination. "That may be true, Colonel, but we have something they don't: desperation and ingenuity. And thanks to the data I managed to steal before my escape, we now know more about their weaknesses." She activated a holographic display showing the intricate biological-technological hybrid structure of a Zarkan. Their greatest strength is also their vulnerability. The Zarkan aren't just using technology, they're integrated with it on a cellular level. If we can disrupt that integration, we can hurt them. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the younger sister of Professor Akira Tanaka, leaned forward with interest. "Are you suggesting some kind of electromagnetic pulse?" Elena shook her head. "Something more specific. The Zarkan use a unique form of quantum entanglement to maintain their hive mind and control their technology. If we can create a device to interfere with that entanglement, we could potentially disable their weapons, ships, and even their soldiers," Yuki finished, her eyes widening with realization. Colonel Hawkins frowned. "That's a big if, Doctor. And even if we could build such a device, how would we deploy it? The Zarkan control the skies and most of the surface." A new voice joined the conversation. "That's where I come in." All heads turned to see Captain Sarah Chen, her arm in a sling and her face scared, but very much alive, stride into the room. A murmur of surprise and hope rippled through the assembled group. "Reports of my death were greatly exaggerated," Sarah said with a grim smile. "And I picked up some interesting intel during my time behind enemy lines. The Zarkan have a central control node for each continent. Take out those nodes, and their forces will be in disarray." Elena nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. "If we can combine my quantum disruptor idea with a strike on their control nodes, we might just have a chance," Colonel Hawkins finished, a spark of hope in his eyes for the first time since the invasion began. The next few days were a flurry of activity as the resistance put their plan into action. Elena and Yuki worked tirelessly to develop the quantum disruptor, while Sarah and Colonel Hawkins trained a strike team for the dangerous mission ahead. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Professor Akira Tanaka had made a breakthrough of his own. Hidden in an underground lab beneath the ruins of London, he had finally unlocked the secret of the Zarkan's terraforming plants. "It's not just changing the atmosphere," Akira explained to his team of haggard but determined scientists. "The plants are creating a vast, planet-wide network, a biological supercomputer of sorts. If we can introduce the right kind of virus into this network, we could turn their own terraforming against them," finished Dr. Emma Blackwood, her eyes shining with newfound hope. As these separate threads of resistance began to intertwine, the Zarkan remained confident in their supremacy. From their towering crystalline fortresses, they looked down upon the remnants of human civilization with disdain. Zarlak, the Zarkan commander, stood atop the highest spire of their North American stronghold, surveying the transformed landscape. "Soon, this world will be perfect for our kind," he communicated telepathically to his lieutenants. "The humans are nothing more than a minor inconvenience now." Little did he know that deep beneath his feet, a daring plan was about to be set in motion that would challenge everything the Zarkan thought they knew about their supposedly inferior adversaries. The day of the attack dawned grey and ominous. In bunkers and hideouts around the world, resistance fighters prepared for what might be humanity's last stand. The plan was audacious and dangerous. Simultaneous strikes on all 7 continental control nodes, coupled with the activation of the quantum disruptor and the release of Akira's biological countermeasure. Helena stood before the strike team, her face etched with determination. "I won't lie to you," she said, her voice steady. "This mission is incredibly dangerous. Many of us may not come back. But remember what we're fighting for. Not just our own survival, but the future of our entire species. The Zarkan think they've won, that we're beaten. It's time to show them how wrong they are." Sarah stepped forward, her good arm raising a makeshift flag, a patchwork of nations united against a common foe. "For Earth," she said simply. "For Earth," the assembled fighters echoed, their voices rising in a defiant chorus. As the strike teams moved out, Elena and Yuki made final adjustments to the quantum disruptor. The device, cobbled together from salvaged Zarkan technology and human ingenuity, hummed with potential. "Do you think it will work?" Yuki asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Elena met her gaze, a mixture of fear and hope in her eyes. "It has to," she replied. "We're out of other options." Across the ocean, Akira prepared to release his biological countermeasure into the Zarkan's terraforming network. "Good luck," he murmured, thinking of his sister and the other resistance fighters around the world. "Give them hell." As the carefully coordinated attacks began, the Zarkan were caught completely off guard. Human fighters, using tactics and technologies that alien oppressors had never anticipated, struck at the heart of their control centers. In North America, Sarah led her team in a daring assault on the crystalline fortress. Using stealth technology reverse-engineered from downed Zarkan ships, they penetrated deep into the alien stronghold. "Almost there," Sarah whispered as they approached the central control room. "Elena, Yuki, we're in position. Activate the disruptor on my mark." Back in the bunker, Elena took a deep breath and placed her hand on the activation switch. "This is for Earth," she said, and threw the switch. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a wave spreading across the planet, the Zarkan technology began to falter. Ships fell from the sky, weapons ceased to function, and the aliens themselves stumbled, their hive-mind connections suddenly severed. Simultaneously, Akira's biological countermeasure surged through the terraforming network, turning the Zarkan's own creation against them. The alien plants began to wither and die, taking with them the changes to Earth's atmosphere. As chaos erupted among the Zarkan forces, humanity seized its chance. Around the world, resistance fighters emerged from hiding, striking at their now vulnerable oppressors. In the North American Control Center, Sarah faced off against a disoriented but still dangerous Zarlak. "This is for everyone you've killed," she snarled, engaging the alien commander in hand-to-hand combat. The battle raged on multiple fronts, humanity's desperation and determination pitted against the Zarkan's superior but failing technology. For the first time since the invasion began, the tide of war had turned. As the sun set on this pivotal day, the outcome still hung in the balance. But one thing was clear: humanity had proven itself far more resilient and resourceful than the Zarkan had ever imagined. The real fight for Earth had only just begun, and it promised to be a conflict that would reshape the future of both species forever. The turning point. The days following the coordinated global attack were filled with a mixture of hope and chaos. While the Zarkan reeled from the unexpected blow to their technology and terraforming efforts, humanity scrambled to press its advantage. The alien invaders, cut off from their hive mind and struggling with Earth's atmosphere, found themselves fighting a war they were suddenly ill-equipped to win. Elena Martinez stood in the command center of the Rocky Mountain bunker, surveying the holographic map that displayed the ongoing battles across the globe. Red dots representing Zarkan strongholds were steadily being replaced by blue human-controlled areas. "We've retaken most of North America and Europe," Colonel Hawkins reported, his voice tinged with cautious optimism. "Asia and Africa are still contested, but we're making progress." Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on the largest remaining red zone, the the Zarkan's primary base in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, and South America. Sarah Chen, who had returned from her mission battered but victorious, stepped forward. That's where we hit a snag. The quantum disruptor's effects are weakening there. The Zarkan are adapting faster than we anticipated. A hush fell over the room as the implications sank in. Their hard-won advantage was slipping away. Dr. Yuki Tanaka spoke up, her voice steady despite the tension. We need to understand how they're counteracting the disruptor. If we can get a team into their main base, I might be able to find a way to amplify its effects. Colonel Hawkins shook his head. It's too risky. That base is the most heavily fortified Zarkan position on the planet. We'd be sending our people to certain death. Not if we have inside help, a new voice interjected. All heads turned to see a figure step out of the shadows, a Zarkan. Weapons were instantly trained on the alien, but Elena held up a hand. Wait, this is Zarvel. He's been feeding us intelligence since before the attack. The revelation sent shockwaves through the room. Sarah's eyes narrowed with suspicion. How do we know we can trust it? Zarvel's large, luminescent eyes blinked slowly. Because like you, I seek to end this conflict. Not all Zarkan agree with the invasion. Some of us believe coexistence is possible. Helena stepped forward, her gaze challenging those around her. Zarvel has proven his loyalty. Without his information, our attack wouldn't have succeeded. And now, he might be our only chance to finish what we started. After a tense moment, Colonel Hawkins lowered his weapon. All right, Doctor, what's the plan? Over the next few hours, a daring strategy took shape. Zarvel would smuggle a small team into the heart of the Amazon base under the guise of captured prisoners. Once inside, they would work to amplify the quantum disruptor's effects while gathering crucial intelligence on Zarkan plans. As volunteers were called for this perilous mission, Sarah was the first to step forward. I've got a score to settle, she said, thinking of her fallen comrades. Yuki joined her. You'll need someone who understands the disruptor technology. Elena nodded, a mix of pride and worry on her face. I'm coming too. My knowledge of Zarkan biology might be crucial. As the team made final preparations, Professor Akira Tanaka's face appeared on a secure video link from London. I've made a breakthrough, he announced, his excitement palpable even through the grainy image. The biological countermeasure we introduced into their terraforming network, it's not just stopping the process, it's reversing it. Earth's atmosphere is slowly returning to normal. This news injected fresh hope into the resistance. If they could amplify the quantum disruptor's effects and continue the reversal of the terraforming, victory might finally be within reach. The journey to the Amazon base was fraught with danger. Zarvel, using his influence, managed to get the team past the outer defenses, but tension mounted with every step deeper into enemy territory. As they entered the vast crystalline structure at the heart of the base, Elena couldn't help but marvel at the alien architecture. Pulsing veins of energy ran through the walls, and holographic displays flickered with incomprehensible data. Remember, Zarvel whispered, once we reach the central chamber, you'll only have a few minutes before the other Zarkan realize something's wrong. Sarah nodded grimly, her hand resting on her concealed weapon. Then let's make those minutes count. The team split up, with Yuki and Elena heading for the technology core to work on amplifying the disruptor, while Sarah and Zarvel made for the command center to gather intelligence. As Yuki interfaced with the alien systems, her eyes widened in awe. Elena, look at this. Their quantum entanglement network, it's far more complex than we realized. If we can just tweak the resonance frequency. Meanwhile, in the command center, Sarah and Zarvel discovered something alarming. They're calling for reinforcements, Sarah hissed, looking at the holographic star map. A whole armada just beyond the edge of our solar system. Zarvel's expression was grim. If they arrive before we can fully repel the invasion force already here, your planet is doomed. The tension ratcheted up as alarms began to blare throughout the base. Their presence had been detected. We're out of time. Elena's voice crackled over the comm. Yuki's made the adjustments. We need to activate the amplified disruptor now. As Zarkan's soldiers converged on their position, Sarah made a split-second decision. Do it. We'll hold them off as long as we can. Yuki hesitated for just a moment, her finger hovering over the activation switch. I hope this works, she murmured and pressed the button. The effect was immediate and dramatic. A wave of energy pulsed outward from the base, spreading across the planet at incredible speed. Zarkan technology everywhere began to short-circuit and fail. In the command center, Sarah watched in amazement as the holographic displays flickered and died. The approaching Zarkan soldiers stumbled and fell, their cybernetic enhancements rendered useless. It's working. Elena's excited voice came over the comm. But we need to get out of here. This place is becoming unstable. As the team regrouped and fought their way out of the crumbling base, they couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. They had struck a decisive blow against the invaders, but the war was far from over. Outside, they emerged into chaos. The Amazon rainforest, partially transformed by Zarkan terraforming, was rapidly changing back. Alien structures were collapsing, and the very air seemed charged with energy. As they made their escape, Sarah turned to Zarvel. What about you? Won't you be affected by the disruptor too? The alien's eyes seemed to smile. I chose to have my cybernetic enhancements removed long ago. I am as I was meant to be, and now I will help you finish what we started. As they raced back to their hidden transport, the sky above them filled with falling Zarkan ships, their systems disrupted by the amplified quantum pulse. Elena looked up at the spectacle, a mix of emotions playing across her face. We've won a great victory today, she said softly, but our greatest challenges may still lie ahead. The team shared a moment of silent understanding. They had changed the course of the war, but the final battle for Earth's future was yet to come. With a Zarkan armada approaching and the planet's ecosystem in flux, humanity would need every ounce of its newfound unity and ingenuity to survive. As they took off, leaving the chaos of the Amazon behind, each member of the team steeled themselves for the trials to come. The fate of two species now hung in the balance, and the next few days would determine the course of galactic history. The final push. The world held its breath in the aftermath of the Amazon operation. As news of the amplified quantum disruptor's success spread, a wave of hope and determination swept through the human resistance. However, the looming threat of the approaching Zarkan armada cast a long shadow over their recent victories. In the makeshift war room of the Rocky Mountain bunker, Elena Martinez stood before a gathering of military leaders and scientific minds from around the globe. The holographic display showed the Zarkan fleet's approach, a swarm of red dots creeping ever closer to Earth. We fought ourselves time, Elena began, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. But we need to act fast. The disruptor won't work on their ships until they're in range, and by then it might be too late. Colonel Hawkins stepped forward, his face grim. We've consolidated our ground forces and reclaimed most of our orbital defense platforms. But even with Zarvel's intelligence, we're outgunned and outnumbered. Dr. Yuki Tanaka cleared her throat, drawing attention to a complex diagram on her tablet. I've been analyzing the data we gathered from the Amazon base. There might be a way to extend the disruptor's range, but it would require a massive power source, more than anything we currently have on Earth. A thoughtful silence fell over the room, broken by the unexpected voice of Zarvel. There is a way, the alien said, his luminescent eyes scanning the assembled humans. The Zarkan ships are powered by quantum singularity drives. If we could capture one, we could use its power to amplify the disruptor to reach the incoming fleet, Yuki finished, her eyes widening with excitement. Sarah Chen, who had been quietly observing from the corner, stepped into the center of the room. I volunteer to lead the space operation. My experience with both human and Zarkan tech makes me the best candidate. Elena nodded, a mix of pride and concern in her eyes. It's settled then. Sarah will lead a team to capture a Zarkan ship. Meanwhile, we'll need to prepare Earth's defenses for a potential last stand. As the meeting adjourned, plans were set in motion across the globe. Humanity, once divided by borders and ideologies, now worked in unprecedented unity towards a common goal: survival. In orbit above Earth, a small fleet of hybrid craft, human ships retrofitted with salvaged Zarkan technology, prepared for their daring mission. Sarah stood on the bridge of the lead ship, christened Hope's Vanguard, surveying her crew of Earth's finest pilots and engineers. "This won't be easy," she addressed them, her voice carrying over the ship's intercom. "But remember, everything we love, everyone we're fighting for, is down there counting on us. Failure is not an option." With a final nod to her crew, Sarah gave the order: launch. The hybrid fleet shot out of Earth's orbit, on an intercept course with the nearest Zarkan patrol ship. As they approached, tension mounted on the bridge of Hope's Vanguard. "Stealth systems holding," reported the tactical officer. "They haven't detected us yet." Sarah's eyes narrowed as she watched the alien ship grow larger on the viewscreen. "Prepare for quantum lock-on. We'll only get one shot at this." The moment seemed to stretch into eternity as Hope's Vanguard closed in on its target. Then, with a burst of energy, they struck. Beams of focused quantum energy lashed out, enveloping the Zarkan ship in a crackling field. "Direct hit," shouted the weapons officer. "Their systems are destabilizing." Sarah's voice was calm but urgent. "Boarding teams, go. Engineering, start power transfer as soon as we're docked." What followed was a chaotic ballet of precision teamwork. As boarding parties fought their way through the alien vessel, engineers worked feverishly to link the two ships' power systems. Every second counted, with the main Zarkan fleet drawing ever closer. Back on Earth, Elena and Yuki coordinated the global defense network. Cities around the world had been transformed into fortresses, with salvaged alien tech integrated into human defense systems. Professor Akira Tanaka, now reunited with his sister, worked tirelessly to strengthen Earth's recovering biosphere against potential Zarkan counterattacks. As the hours ticked by, the tension in the Rocky Mountain bunker was palpable. Then finally, a transmission broke through. "This is Captain Chen. We've done it. The Zarkan ship is under our control, and we're beginning power transfer to the global disruptor network." A cheer went up in the bunker, but Elena knew the hardest part was yet to come. "Well done, Sarah," she replied. "Get that ship back to Earth orbit. We're going to need every bit of firepower for what's coming." As Hope's Vanguard and its captured prize limped back to Earth, the main Zarkan fleet finally came into view of Earth's long-range sensors. The sight was terrifying. Thousands of ships, each capable of devastating an entire continent. In the following days, the people of Earth worked with grim determination. The captured quantum singularity drive was integrated into the planetary defense grid, its immense power feeding into the amplified disruptor network. As the Zarkan fleet entered the solar system, humanity held its collective breath. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of their species and their world. Elena stood in the control room, her hand hovering over the activation switch for the global disruptor. Sarah, having returned from her space mission, stood beside her. Around the world, resistance fighters manned their stations, ready for what might be their final battle. To all Earth Defense Forces, Elena's voice rang out over the global communication network. "The future of our world, of our very existence, comes down to this moment. Whatever happens, know that humanity stands united. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. This is our home, and we will defend it." With that, Elena activated the disruptor. A wave of quantum energy surged outward from Earth, racing towards the approaching Zarkan armada. As it reached the alien fleet, ships began to falter and fall out of formation. But the Zarkan were not defeated yet. Those ships unaffected by the initial pulse continued their advance, weapons charged and ready to rain destruction upon Earth. As the two forces clashed in the skies above the planet, the final battle for Earth's future began in earnest. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the very stars bearing witness to this pivotal moment in galactic history. A new dawn. The battle for Earth raged across the solar system. The skies above the planet were alight with the exchange of weapons fire as human hybrid ships engaged the Zarkon fleet in a desperate struggle for survival. On the ground, resistance fighters stood ready to repel any alien forces that might break through the orbital defenses. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, Elena Martinez and her team worked tirelessly to coordinate the global defense effort. The quantum disruptor, powered by the captured Zarkon drive, continued to pulse waves of energy into space, disabling swaths of the invading fleet. But it wasn't enough to stop them all. "We're losing ground in Sector 7, Colonel Hawkins reported grimly, his eyes fixed on the holographic battle map. "If they break through there, they'll have a clear shot at our primary power relay in Antarctica." Elena's mind raced, searching for a solution. "Yuki, can we redirect more power to the disruptor?" Dr. Tanaka shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. "We're already at maximum output. Any more and we risk burning out the entire system." Just then, Zarvel's voice cut through the tension. "There might be another way," the alien said, his eyes gleaming with an idea. "The Zarkon fleet operates on a hierarchical network. If we could infiltrate their flagship and send out a shutdown command, we could disable their entire fleet at once," Elena finished, a spark of hope igniting in her eyes. "But how do we get aboard their flagship?" Sarah Chen, who had been silently monitoring communications from the space battle, spoke up. "Leave that to me. I've got an idea, but it's going to be risky." As Sarah outlined her daring plan, a sense of nervous excitement filled the room. It was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy, but it just might work. Hours later, Sarah found herself piloting a small, stealthy craft towards the massive Zarkon flagship. Using a combination of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech, her ship was disguised as space debris, drifting innocuously amidst the chaos of battle. Approaching target, Sarah whispered into her comm, initiating docking sequence. Back on Earth, Elena, Yuki, and Zarvel huddled around a console, guiding Sarah through the complex Zarkon systems. "Remember," Zarvel cautioned, "once you're in their network, you'll only have moments before they detect the intrusion." Sarah's voice came back, tense but determined. "Understood. I'm in position. Beginning upload, now." For several agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the battle map in the bunker began to change. All across the solar system, Zarkon ships started to go dark, their weapons falling silent and their engines shutting down. A cheer went up in the bunker, but Elena knew it wasn't over yet. "Sarah, get out of there now." But Sarah's reply was cut off by static. On the view screen, they watched in horror as the Zarkon flagship, despite being powered down, began to glow with an ominous energy. "They're overloading their core," Zarvel realized aloud. "They intend to take as many of us with them as they can." Elena's mind raced. "Can we remote pilot Sarah's ship?" Yuki shook her head. "The energy interference is too strong. She'll have to fly out manually." Tense minutes passed as they waited for any sign of Sarah's ship. The Zarkon flagship grew brighter and brighter, on the verge of catastrophic overload. Just as hope seemed lost, a tiny craft burst from the dying flagship, streaking away at full speed. Seconds later, the massive alien vessel exploded in a blinding flash of light, taking a significant portion of the remaining Zarkon fleet with it. As the light faded and the dust settled, an eerie quiet fell over the battlefield. The remaining Zarkon ships, cut off from their command structure and faced with the united forces of humanity, began to retreat. In the days that followed, the full scale of humanity's victory became clear. The Zarkon invasion had been repelled, and Earth, though scarred, had survived. But the conflict had changed both species irrevocably. 1 month after the final battle, Elena stood before the United Nations, now expanded to include representatives from the Zarkand who, like Zarvel, had opposed the invasion. "We stand at a crossroads," Elena began, her voice carrying to every corner of the globe and beyond. "We have faced extinction and emerged stronger, more united than ever before, but our victory came at a great cost, and the path ahead is uncertain." She gestured to Zarvel, who stood beside her. "Yet in our darkest hour, we found unexpected allies. We learned that the universe is vaster and more complex than we ever imagined, and we proved that when faced with annihilation, we are capable of greatness." Elena's gaze swept across the assembly, meeting the eyes of humans and Zarkand alike. "Today, we have a choice. We can retreat into fear and isolation, or we can embrace this opportunity to forge a new future, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life." As Elena's words rang out, people around the world watched in awe as the skies above them shimmered. The lingering effects of Zarkand terraforming, combined with human ingenuity, had created a new phenomenon, an aurora that encircled the entire planet, a testament to the changes Earth had undergone. "The road ahead will not be easy," Elena continued. "We have much to learn, much to rebuild, but we do so now as citizens not just of Earth, but of a larger galactic community. Our differences, human and Zarkand, nation and nation, seem small in the face of the challenges and wonders that await us among the stars." As Elena's speech concluded, a sense of hope and possibility swept across the planet. The invasion had brought humanity to the brink of extinction, but it had also unlocked potential they never knew they had. Now, with the threat past and a universe of possibilities before them, the people of Earth looked to the future with a mixture of excitement and determination. In the years that followed, Earth would become a beacon of cooperation and innovation in the galaxy. The union of human creativity and Zarkand technology led to advancements that neither species could have achieved alone. And as they took their first steps into the wider galactic community, they carried with them the hard-earned wisdom that strength lies not in conquest, but in unity. The story of Earth's resistance became legend, a testament to the indomitable spirit of life itself. And somewhere out there in the vast expanse of space, new adventures and challenges awaited, a future limited only by the bounds of imagination and the will to explore.